This is Chapter 3, Evolution, Biodiversity, and Population Ecology. For right now, we're just going to focus on evolution and biodiversity. So this case study is about saving Hawaii's native forest birds. Hawaii has a lot of endemic species, which is just a species that is found in only one place, and many of them are endangered. And they're endangered mainly because of invasive species which humans bring over to the island, and they push out native species and also disease. Page number 48. Know what a species is. So two members of the same species are able to mate and they can produce viable offspring. And population. So a population is a group of species in one area. So you could say the population of armadillos in Houston versus the population of armadillos in Austin. On page 49, so in apes, we don't really need to know that much about evolution, but there are some things you should know to get a better idea and a better understanding of other concepts. So know what natural selection is. Natural selection is survival of the fittest. The organism with the best adaptation, the best trait, is going to survive and reproduce and have offspring, and the organism with the undesirable trait is going to die off. And adaptation is that characteristic or trait that helps an organism survive. And mutation, and they arise from mutations. And mutations are important because they give rise to genetic diversity. Even within a species, it's good to have variation because if there's an event, a sudden change, that population will be more likely to survive and not go extinct. And something else to note is adaptations take a very, very long time, upwards to a million years, to form in a population or in a species. So if there is a sudden change in the environment, many times organisms don't have enough time to just get a new adaptation and to change. So that can lead to loss of species. A couple of phrases to know are selected for and selected against. Selected for, if you hear that, means that an organism had a good trait and is able to survive. Selected against means that an organism had a bad trait and it died. So on page 50, no artificial selection. We have been artificially selecting organisms for a very, very long time. Humans have. So some examples are crops, livestock, and dog breeds. We have artificially selected for all of these. And how it works is basically you take the trait that is desirable, the trait that you want, and you breed that. So in a dog breed, a lot of dog breeders will try to get dogs that are very like affable and social. So they'll try to breed dogs that are like that, so that they can have that trait. On page 51, no biological diversity or biodiversity. Usually we just say biodiversity. On the next page, know this figure and caption. So this is called allopatric speciation. You don't need to know the word, but you should know the process. And it is explaining how two species can result from one. So here at the top we have a single population, one species, and then there is a lava flow that happens, and these two populations end up being geographically isolated, so they're separated from each other. Now over time, over years and years and years, they will each adapt to their own environment. And so this one, the yellow color is selected for, and in this one the red color is selected for. And so later over time, this lava, it will start to break down, plant species will start to come in, and then they can intermingle again. But if they can't mate, then that means that now there are two species. If they intermingle and they can mate, then they're still the same species. So other types of geographic isolation which can lead to speciation, there's a lava flow. Glaciers, they can cover land. Rivers can change their course. Mountains can rise, isolating two populations. Sea level rise, and then also droughts. So you don't need to know taxonomy or cladograms, really. So let's go to page 57. You do need to know endemic. Endemic species are found only in one place on Earth. Your book gives the example of Yosemite toads. We have our own. We have the Houston toad. It's only found in Houston, and it sadly is endangered. And the Galapagos Islands have a lot of endemic species. Islands usually do have endemic species because they evolve for their specific island. But one of the more popular examples is the Galapagos tortoises. Let's go to page 58. So extinctions have been happening for a long time. 99% of the species ever on Earth have gone extinct. So that's called a background extinction rate. But every so often we have a mass extinction, which is when a lot of species go extinct in a relatively short amount of time, often due to an event like a volcanic eruption or a meteor crashing to Earth. The most popular one is a KT event, which made the dinosaurs go extinct. There have been 5 previous events, and there is actually a mass extinction going on now, and it is the only one that is man-made. And it is mostly due to habitat loss, also invasive species, poaching, climate change. So that's going on right now. Know over here these levels of organization. Know ecology. This chart, all the definitions, ecosystem, and habitat. On the next page, on page 60, know what a generalist species is and what a specialist species is. A generalist species is a species that can live in a lot of different type of areas. They can eat a wide range of food. An example is raccoons. And a specialist species, they sometimes will only have one food source. They have to live in large areas of land. And the example that your book gives you is a Hawaiian bird, and it has a beak that has been adapted to only eat one specific food source. And so if that food source goes away, that bird may go extinct because it doesn't have anything else to eat. It's only adapted for one thing. So that's why specialists are more likely to become endangered or become extinct. Generalists, on the other hand, if their food source goes away, they can turn to another food source. Habitat loss isn't as detrimental to them because they can just move somewhere else. A lot of times generalist species live around humans, like raccoons, cockroaches, and bird species, so it's not really a big issue for them. And know this picture and caption. This is referring to passenger pigeons that went extinct because of hunting, because of humans hunting them. Okay, so that's all of chapter 3 for now.